I'm Cathy Hampton. I'm a teaching fellow in the was the French department, is now the School in Modern Languages and Cultures. I've researched on the kind of activities that students do whilst on their year abroad, and particularly how the year abroad could be conceived as a kind of liminal space that does education and learning differently from the rest of the academic process that students go through whilst they're here. It's the freedom that I'm interested in, I suppose, because I think, something like 86% of students in French said that the year abroad was their best year. So the year that they're not with us is the year that they see as their most formative. And of course we're kind of helping, but it's because they grow and they come back in their final year, they're completely different people by and large. If you teach finalists, they are motivated in a wholly different way because they've been on their year abroad and they've had to kind of survive in another culture. So they grow in confidence, they grow in their ability to communicate just generally, so they're more likely to throw themselves into seminar discussions, for instance, than they might do in their second year. The research that I've done on it is about that. It's a liminal space because it's a time when they're free to take risks. It's a time when they're free to kind of play. If you think of something like, Warwick's interest in open space learning, say, this idea that, you couldn't get a more open space than being in a foreign country and kind of left to your own devices for quite a lot of the time. So what are you going to do with that? And then, of course, so you've got the kind of trajectory of the going out, and then you've got the time abroad, and then you've got the kind of reintroduction, the coming back, how you reinsert yourself into an academic environment and what you do with what you've learned and how you articulate it. Plus, so you're working for the kind of macrocosm of it's new and you are developing yourself as you kind of go through that process, to the microcosm of, you're a language assistant in a school and you're supposed to be dealing with small groups, but your teacher gives you 25 students and they don't behave themselves very well, and there's no internet connection at your school, so you can't get them to watch videos, and you thought when you were going out there that you'd be able to kind of connect into all these things, but they don't have any of that. And what are you going to do? How are you going to run your class? And it's accommodation, it's the school not paying you on time, it's you name it, they've faced it. We're working now with more closely with careers to try and help students articulate some of these challenges that they've faced in terms of kind of resilience or thinking for yourself, or the kind of employability, I don't really like the word skills, but the kind of things that will enhance your ability to kind of think for yourself, think on your feet whilst you're in a working environment, which I think students sometimes think, I had to face that, I had to find my way around it, but I've done that now and I've moved on to something else. So I think there is definitely work to do in translating those experiences into identifiable kind of learning narratives, really, that they can then kind of go back to.